Welcome to Author Mindset Monday. It's a beautiful, beautiful day. And today's quote comes from the amazing Maya Angelou, who said, "If you don't like something, change it. If you can't change it, change your attitude." And that is just such beautiful advice. Hi there, my name is Christopher D'Armani, and I help authors go from blank page to finished first draft to published book with ease. And one of the ways that I help authors do that is by helping them focus on shifting their attitude into a more positive frame of mind. So one of the things that I talk about a lot is that we are in control of our thoughts. At least we can be, should we decide to take on that task, right? Our thoughts are completely within our control. Now that doesn't mean that we can control everything that happens to us. That's obviously not true. But here's the thing. I mean, yes, terrible things are going to happen to us, but it's in those moments. It's in those moments where those really terrible things happen. Our attitude towards what happened can be the difference between surviving and thriving or basically being destroyed by it, right? Our attitude is a choice. Courage is also a choice. And when we choose courage, we can't help but choose optimism as well. You can't be courageous and fearful. Well, I suppose I'm going to posit you can't be courageous and live in fear at the same time. The courage is going to displace the fear. That's what I believe, and I hope that you share that belief. And so I want to give you an example of this in my own life. In 2018, my wife was diagnosed with stage 3C breast cancer. It was brutal. You know, in that moment, all of our worst fears that we've been sort of building up to since we discovered the lump and all that kind of stuff, we were devastated emotionally in that moment, sitting in that doctor's office where this sort of bombshell was exploded in front of us. So once that initial shock was over, though, we both realized that our attitude towards this diagnosis was going to make the difference between whether it broke us or whether we would come through this and sail through it with flying colors. So one of the things that we had in our corner is an amazing oncologist who was very optimistic once he realized what type of cancer Linda had. He was very confident that he had a special concoction of chemo drugs that would get rid of this thing. And if I can remember the quote right, he said something to the effect of, in 6 treatments, this thing is going to be so small you can't even find it on a microscope. And he was right. He was actually, well, I shouldn't say that he was right. He was actually better than right. You know, but before I get to that, I want to talk about the chemo sessions. Part of how we were able to take his optimism and incorporate it into our own lives was, instead of going to chemotherapy sessions, what we did was we dressed up to kill cancer. And we had these dress up to kill cancer events. And so we would show up at the hospital for the cancer treatments, and Linda would be wearing whatever she felt to dress up in the moment. One session, it was a pink flamingo onesie, for example. And so we walk in and she's in that, and the nurses on the chemo ward just start laughing. It's just like, oh, here come the 2 crazy people again, right? Because this became our theme. It's like we simply understood that the positive mental attitude was going to make all the difference on what was going to happen throughout all of this. And one of the benefits of our particular brand of insanity is it helped uplift the other people that were in the chemo ward as well. Because it's not a fun thing going through that particular process. And so anything that can be uplifting is a really, really good thing. Now, here's the really amazing bonus, is that not only did Dr. Klimo's chemotherapy regimen kill the cancer, it did it in 4 sessions. And we're talking a lump that was 2.5 inches long and about 1 inch deep. It had gone through the chest wall, but not into the lungs. It had already moved, it built its own blood supply, for crying out loud. That's how massive this thing was. And it was literally gone in 4 sessions. The biopsy later proved that the cancer was dead. There was no more living cancer cells in her body. That's a beautiful miracle. Dr. Klimo, of course, was not surprised at all, but his positive attitude towards the outcome for her helped us be really courageous and maintain our positive attitudes as well. So I tell you all that to share that my wife chose to live in the land of possibility, not the land of despair. And that's a really important thing to do when, life hands us that great big bucket of lemonade. The beautiful thing is she's been cancer-free ever since, and we praise God every day for that, because that is a beautiful, beautiful mercy and a beautiful miracle that he performed for us. But here's the point of it all. Life will hand us a bucket of lemonades from time to time. Sometimes more than one, sometimes it's a whole crate full, I don't know. But here's the thing, right? How we deal with that bucket of lemons is entirely our choice. We can choose to be destroyed by it. We can choose to allow them to rot. We can allow that whole thing to fester and stink up our entire home. Or we can do like my wife did, and like I had tried to help her with, is we made lemonade. We chose to live in the land of possibility instead of the land of despair. So whatever is going on in your life right now, whether it's affecting how you write, whether it's affecting how you work, whether it's affecting how you show up with your family, choose courage. I beg you to choose courage. Choose to live in the land of possibility, because when you do that, everything else changes as well. You can't help but be less fearful and more optimistic. You can't help but be more grateful for the things that are going positively for you. And you can't help but be less concerned about the bad things, because you know that there's good things in the offing. It's a really great way to live. And this is one of the reasons why I talk about what I call the 4 principles. Gratitude, love, joy, compassion. Gratitude, love, joy, and compassion. There we go. There's the 4. And I love to add in courage, because often to be those 4 things, it really does require us to be courageous in those moments. So I would love for you to just take that with you today and just find a way to incorporate that idea into your life. I would love it if you could do that. And if you enjoyed today's video, I would also love it if you'd like it and share it with your friends. And if something particularly jumped out at you, like for example, if something, I love these graphics, if something blew your mind, share it in the comments. I'm sure other people would love to hear it as well, and I know I would. And I would also love for you to connect with me on social media, and that would be go to sleekbio.com/Christopher, and all the links to all my social media accounts are there: LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, all the rest of it, and a couple other goodies there should they interest you. So in my final thought, I suppose I would just suggest, whatever's going on in your life, if you're feeling sad, depressed, fearful, or something along those lines, choose to be grateful for whatever's going on. Choose to be positive, and simply focus on maintaining that positive mental attitude that will simply transform this entire journey for you in some fashion. It really will. So with that, I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day, and I will talk to you again tomorrow at 3 o'clock. Bye for now.